Hello, everyone. And we are running behind because, of course, we are. But we will try to catch up. Now, we they were supposed to start at 9, but that actually they were running behind. And we are back with the roommate. And of course, I didn't get his name, so I have his banner as roommate. And please remember to do all the YouTubey things if you can. Hey, Sal. Um, I am going to try to, if they have a break or we get done a little bit early, I am going to see if we can play some more of the roommate to see if I can see the search for nose clams, if you will. Uh, but as I look at law and crime, they are very upset that he is being victim shamed because clearly the man has PTSD. See if he
Pursehouse
is
with
in
the
fact
witness
being
has been
victim
taken to the
shamed.
stand.
And welcome
Just
every
as a
morning. Good morning.
reminder that you're
I
still
know
under oath.
that
All right.
Dave's having his Whitmer kidnapping. Though why he would kidnap a Skeksis, I don't know. But why anyone would get a Pomeranian and a Husky together and play, some Barry White to create my adorable Fry, I have no idea. So, there are strange things in this world. And I know that Nicholas is on Verdict Watch. So I thank you guys for coming over. And yes, our judge continues to look like he might invade Poland at any time. Again, if I were him, I would play into it. I would start, with a map of Europe, then start shading in Poland, then, circle over, you know, the fatherland, if you will. I'm just saying. And also bronze eagles right in front of you, sir. Any
All
hoozle.
right.
Let's get
Very
going.
good. You were examining?
Yes, sir.
I might do 1.25, but let's see how it goes.
The TV's on.
Maybe he should grow a beard. It might help the lack of jawline right now, but I don't know.
Mr. Herman, well, they're working on the TV. We left off where you heard something woke you up. Can you, just so we could go back in time, what woke you up?
A sound that I thought was a glass plate hitting the floor or breaking when it hit the floor.
And then the second time you woke up, what woke you up?
Good morning, Kim.
Amy screaming.
And how loud were her screams?
They were very loud.
And about how much time from the time you heard that glass breaking earlier on, about how much time passed to when you heard her screaming? Approximately.
I mean, probably around 4 hours. I'm guessing. I'm not guessing. I'm estimating.
So you hear the glass break at some point, and about 4 hours later, you hear her screaming.
Yes.
And could you tell what she was screaming?
It was just blood curdling, just screams. Like, yeah.
And so that woke you up.
Yes.
And so when, as you wake up, do you continue to hear the screaming?
Yes.
And where are you when you wake up?
I'm on the couch in my bedroom.
Does he mean couch or futon? Y'all tell me the truth. Couch or futon in the chat.
Here at People's number 19C.
Good morning, Kim and
window
Paige.
to the right of this photograph. Is that part of your bedroom?
Yes. Yes.
Yes, thank you. Looking at photograph D of this exhibit. Can you tell us what it's showing here?
It's showing my bedroom.
Okay, does it show the location where you were sleeping?
It does.
And where would that be?
That would be on the couch in the left corner of the
And
photo.
is that over here where you see some pillows and like a gray blanket or something?
Correct.
So you wake up, and as you wake up, do you continue to hear screaming?
Thank goodness it is Friday,
Yes.
Paige. Yes.
And what do you do at that point?
Takes me a minute. Kind of wake up and I really thought she saw a mouse or something, and I gradually get to the door, and I realize it's not stopping, and I yell up to her.
Now, when you say I get to the door, what door are you talking about?
The door to my bedroom at the base of the stairs.
So here on photograph.
Good morning,
exhibit
Lopina.
number 19C, you see what appears to be a door open, and there appears to be a small hallway and a staircase that leads up. Is that correct?
Yes.
So did you get to that area?
Yes.
And would your door be to the right of that?
Yes.
So as you walk to that little passageway in front of those stairs that lead up, is she still screaming?
Yes.
Are the screams the
Oh.
same or different?
Yeah, either he has the worst allergies ever in the history of man, or yeah, he's jonesing for some nose clams. Oh, okay. I will add that to the banners because now I feel bad. Ish.
Or different?
They're the same the whole time.
Is it constant?
It was constant. Yes.
And do you hear anything else other than screaming?
No.
So have
Could
I.
you make out any voices?
No.
So what happens as you're standing there in that little passageway in front of those stairs?
Yell
Law
up,
and crime
yell
would be
her
super
name.
pissed at my
And
banners.
you
then.
already yelled it.
They're like, don't
and
victim
what-
shame
The words that
him.
you used were what?
Amy.
And you yelled it in the
I'm like, dude, you as a man, you heard a woman screaming with scuffling. There are a lot of blunt objects in your room. I mean, I guess you don't have a duty to go save someone, but I don't know. It just seems like you could, well, your room's a mess. Never mind. You probably couldn't find your phone. So you did the next best thing. You pole vaulted over that 2-foot high wall and you tried to knock on people's doors. But OJ Simpson done wrecked that for everyone, and no one's going to answer the damn door in the middle of the night in the Hollywood Hills ever again.
yelled it in the tone of voice you did yesterday,
Yeah, but louder.
even louder than what you yelled here in court.
Oh yeah.
Why would you say that?
Just because I don't think I've ever heard myself yell like that before.
How were you feeling in that moment when you're yelling out her name?
Also, sir, if you was on, let's say you are on certain motivational powders from WW2 that helped the Blitzkrieg, you should have felt all of the strong. I mean, couldn't you have helped your friend? You should have felt all the powerful. I'm beginning to think that you are not a very good friend. Hello, greedy
It's
bloke.
really hard to describe. It was really like shock, adrenaline rush, kind of can't believe this is really happening kind of.
And so after you, when you yell out Amy, is Amy still screaming?
She is when I yell it out.
And how about after you yell it out? What happens? After after you yell out her name, what happens?
I hear what sounded like two people hitting the floor, like somebody taking somebody else down.
Object to this calls for speculation to describe the sound.
Well, you said it sounded like if two people were hitting the floor. Is that what you said? Is that
Like
what you-
somebody, yes, like when somebody takes another person down.
Okay.
Good
That's
morning.
what it sounded
Good
to you
evening,
like that.
Pixie.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's what it sounded to you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, so when you hear that sound of, it sounds like someone was taken down. Do you hear screaming at the same time?
That's around the time I hear it get muffled.
What does that mean? Around that time, it gets muffled.
It sounded like her mouth was being covered.
And why would you say that?
Your Honor calls for speculation.
Well, I'm not so sure that her or whatever, but it's when you say His next question was, and I'll reserve my ruling, why would you say that? What makes you conclude that it sounded like someone's mouth was being covered?
Because it was like the sound of somebody screaming and then screaming through something, like the level that the sound changed as if what it would sound exactly like if you put my hand you know.
I'll allow it to stand.
Okay. So that's how it sounded to you,
Yeah.
as if someone was covering her mouth.
Yes.
And so at that point, did you hear any more screaming from Amy?
On and off.
Was the screaming as loud as before, or was it different?
Sir, how
It
long
was
did you
different.
wait listening to
How
her
so?
screaming?
It was sounded like it was being muffled.
And so for how long did that go on where she sounds like she's being muffled to you?
It's hard for me to remember exact times because, yeah.
What would be your best estimate? Just, was it seconds? Was it a minute? If you even know.
Well, she got choked, or I heard choking also.
Albert.
That part of the court was the same.
Well,
Motion to strike.
Certain.
you were not up there, were you?
No.
All right.
The jury's to disregard.
They know that. Whenever I strike something, you're to disregard it, not consider it. Okay. I
Could
told
you-
that before.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Could you see what was happening up there?
No, I couldn't.
Could you see what was being done to Amy up there?
No.
So can you tell us what you heard
Yes.
as far as sounds?
Yeah. I feel like this shouldn't have to be like a Big Bang Theory, something we have to Sheldon and Leonard out. But yes, in future, if you hear your roommate or someone across the street like screaming like they're dying, just do a solid and call 911 if you don't feel like you can approach and offer aid at any point. Just do a solid, call the popo.
So what else did you hear?
I heard her choking.
Jesus, Herbert.
Okay.
Lemmy,
Sustained as phrased. Now, if he heard what sounded like someone was choking, that's different.
When you say, what exactly do you mean when you say like that she was she sounded like she was choking? What do you mean by that?
Objection, that was state police's testimony.
Well, again,
Misleading.
overruled. You
The
said-
defense has
did it
finally
sound like
learned
someone
that
was choking?
this judge
It did. It sounded like someone coughed.
viscerally hates the male attorney, so he's letting the female attorney talk. She's like, Sonny, let me talk because he just freaking has a hate eggplant for you.
Coughing strenuously.
Okay, so with respect to her choking and so forth, I will sustain it with respect to that. I'll leave it as the way you characterized it now.
Right.
So,
So you said it sounded like someone was coughing, or like
Yes,
she was
yes.
like she was coughing.
Yes.
So at that point, she's no longer screaming.
Right.
And how long does that go on where it sounds like she's coughing?
That ended pretty quickly. And that actually might have been the point where I started hearing her screams and stuff get muffled.
And where were you when you're hearing all this? Bless you.
I'm still in the doorway of my bedroom.
Are you here looking at photograph C19? Are you right here on the little hallway landing? Are you on the step? Are you, bless you, are you outside of the door towards the patio?
I'm standing like in the door frame looking up.
Yeah, sir, at what point did you think perhaps she's not upset about a mouse? I mean, yeah, I guess, we could fault him for maybe she's like, into certain, she's into certain things that might have also sounded like she was into certain things. I mean, maybe he could be faulted for, maybe she just started yelling pineapple. We are all going to purgatory, but mostly me.
I'm gonna object to the
One
video
second.
too short frame.
all right, let's clear that up.
When you say, which storefront are you talking about?
The door frame to my bedroom, it would be on the right through this picture.
Okay, so you're even more inside. You're by this little hallway next to the stairs.
Yes.
Do you say or do anything at this point when you're hearing what sounds to you like Amy's choking?
That's when I started looking for my phone.
What do you say anything or do anything else?
I spend probably the next 4 or 5 minutes jockeying between my bed and the doorway, trying to hear if I can hear what's going on, if anybody's coming, and while jockeying back, looking for my phone, just back and forth.
Now, when you say 4 to 5 minutes, is that your time estimate?
That's an estimate.
You got to let me finish.
Sorry.
Is that the time estimate in your brain that you think that's how long it all took?
Yeah.
Do you ever yell anything else to either Amy or the person or whoever's up there with her?
Before I leave.
And what is it that you yell?
Hey, motherfucker.
Well, can you yell it the same way you yelled it that morning?
Did you use your
Probably
big
not,
boy
but I can try.
voice?
I
Go
can
ahead.
yell it. Hey, motherfucker.
Oh my God,
Why
did you
did you
use
yell
more
that?
bass than that? I could yell more
In
bass
my
than
head, I
that.
planned to run out and try and get help because I couldn't find my phone. And I thought that maybe he would be more, it would just be a distraction, that he would be worried about me in the house. And I hoped to quietly go out, that he would still be, that he would leave her alone, be more worried about me, was what was going on in my head.
I'm going to object to the characterization as he, since he did not, Mr. Herman did not see anybody.
Just say-
Well, can the answer stand, or does the court want me to ask that again?
Why don't you ask it?
Okay. All right. Without indicating whether it's a he or a she.
Look, y'all. Okay, so this is a side tangent. We're never going to get done with today. Look, today is Friday. We've done. Mr. Frybert decided he was going to sleep until 5:30 today, so we are all full of the energies. But he sounds like when my youngest, most feral Griffin Wayne decides that he's gonna try out a little bit of bass. His little twiglet and berries have decided to descend, so he's like, "No," and I'm like, "Wait for a couple of years when you get a little pitch fuzz. Get the hell inside, son." That's what that meant. We are all going to purgatory, but we will have some fun pineapple doggo beds and it'll be great. Oh my gosh. What the hell was that?
He or a she up there that's doing this to Amy, just a person. What did you believe by yelling, "Hey, motherfucker"? What did you believe would cause? What did you believe would happen if you said that?
I thought it would distract him,
Well,
or
say-
the person from her, that I believed was in there.
Good morning, Indigo.
And did you
You
have
own
any
one
weapon
minute?
on you at this point?
No,
Did you have any weapons in your room?
I had some small knives.
In that moment, were you able to were you able to grab any of those knives?
I debated it.
Why didn't you run upstairs to help Amy?
Because I mean, you want me to really go through why? I mean, it was a whole thought process.
Yes. Why didn't you go
Okay.
up there and help Amy?
Your Honor, this calls for a narrative.
You can answer that.
Okay.
I'm
I really
5'2".
That
98
somebody needed to know.
pounds.
My plan was to have the cops on the phone and walk up there with the phone on speaker. And I was worried. I'd had sciatica recently, and I just knew I wasn't in fighting shape.
What is sciatica?
Sciatica. Sciatica. Are you my oh my sciatica? Okay, y'all. Let me tell you something. I hear a woman screaming like that. My gimpy leg and I are running up them stairs. Well, first of all, I'll know where my phone is. Because I don't live like a look, I have organized chaos, but I'm gonna know where my phone is. Second of all, I'm gonna have a baseball bat. Third of all, I'm not gonna let someone be just sciatica. Sir, sciatica. I'm a sciatica. Sir. for all the
It's
Cheetos.
where you have a pinched
Snap.
nerve and can't stand up. I mean, I got pulled out of a hotel room on a stretcher.
Sciatica.
So
I have an ingrown
why else didn't you go
toenail.
and run up there to help her?
I really was worried that if both of us were going to end up dead and that nobody would know.
Why did you think you would end up dead?
I just didn't know what I was facing. I assumed somebody, whoever was going through all that trouble. I grew up in gun culture. I couldn't imagine somebody.
This is, you know, the scope of the-
So overruled, let's go into his thought process as to why he did not go, aside from being not in shape. You felt that if you went up there,
Aside from being Latin
you
shaped.
would also
Closed captions. I love you.
die or
I
be
mean,
hurt.
at
Yes.
least he's honest. I mean, he's honest, but you could have just said, "Look, I didn't want to get hurt." You didn't have to pull out sciatica. Like, you could have just said, "I was afraid I was going to get hurt. I'm not the biggest guy." You could have been just honest and said that instead of like, "Look, sciatica."
Okay.
Can you complete your answer as to why you
No.
thought?
Kim, I get that. My problem with it is that he could have just been more honest and said, again, you know, I'm not a big guy. I'm not trained to fight. I could have, you know, I don't know the situation I'm going in. I could have added more chaos and not been helpful. My helpfulness might have been better serving informing people that could have helped better, like the cops, okay? That could have been a better thought process and not ridiculous, like, "I have sciatica." That I would have understood. I could have gotten it. Oh. Oh, I thought you were okay. I thought you were kinda going law and crime. But, yeah, because no, I'd have no, Mr. Mo has to stop me because I'd have been full bore, like, taking baseball bat and Mr. Mo. Oh, no, yeah, I am half type A, half chaos demon. It is chaotic neutral. It is just terrible. But he could have articulated that much better than sciatica as per yeah, I mean, you know, rattle the door, do something. Uh, it No, no, law and crime has no place here, but this man, because they were all like, "I cannot believe they are victim shaming him. He has obvious PSD. Look at him sniffling."
Thought you would also be killed if you went up there?
I couldn't imagine anyone going through that without having a gun. I couldn't picture it.
So that was in your head.
Yes.
And did you have any gun on you?
No.
It's California.
After you yelled that statement of, what was the language exactly that you used?
Oh, for God's sakes, do you have to
hey,
have him
motherfucker.
yell?
Hey, motherfucker. What happened? Did anything happen when you said that? Upstairs, I'm talking. Could you hear whether anything happened upstairs when you said that?
I couldn't hear anything.
Could you hear her screaming when you said that?
That's an answer.
Overruled, not at the point where he said that. So that's a different question.
Intermittently.
Huh?
Intermittently.
So
But it was, yeah, not as much then. It got really quiet, which was really like creepy. Like also,
you keep putting your hand on your face. Is there a reason for that?
no.
Are you nervous?
It just itches and nervous, yeah.
No reasons.
Were you scared at that moment?
Oh, it was like a mix of adrenaline and fear. They're really
Fear
it's
is
really hard to describe. What I
Also
was feeling.
scared,
So after you yell,
pretty much.
hey, motherfucker, what happened?
Oh, for the I
I
hear
go out the back
MF one
door
more time. Swear to
and
God.
close it.
Oh, sir, come on
And
now.
when you say the back
Stop
door, is
with
that
your
what's shown
nose.
here on people's 19C?
Yes.
I can't stop with his nose now, you guys. This is gonna be hard. I mean, this is gonna be terrible.
19A.
Bay 98.
Tell us, where do you go?
I run around if you're facing the back of the house, what would be the right of the house?
So let me see if I point, would that be where I'm pointing my finger here on this exhibit, which would be, if you're looking at this photograph, the right of the house?
Yes.
And what is there in that location to the right of the house?
Like a alleyway.
So like a passageway in the home?
Not in the home, but around the home.
And where does that lead to?
The front of the house.
And what's in the front of the house?
Like a front patio.
Looking at people's exhibit number 18. This is just a 3D, just for reference, okay? With the patio on this photograph, if you're looking at it, this is facing, this is like from the street looking straight at the front of the house, correct?
Yes.
And
Sadly
over here
true.
to the left, is that the area that you're talking about, the passageway?
Yes.
And then there's a center courtyard?
Yes. Front patio. Yeah.
And then what's there in the center courtyard?
Just some furniture and, a gate. And
Is that the gate? You kind of see a gate door right here where I'm pointing to?
yes.
Okay, it appears to be like a black gate.
Yeah.
When you got to that area,
I want to see the
was
alleged
the
wall
gate-
he
open
vaulted
or
over.
what was the condition of the gate?
It was locked.
And so, did you run from where you heard Amy went from screaming to muffled? Did you run to the front of the house or did you walk? How did you get to the front of the house?
I ran as fast as I could.
And when you got to
Just made
the
a
front area of
comment,
the house,
For God's sake.
did you notice anything at that point?
Yes.
What did you notice?
That the gate was locked.
Did you notice anything related to the French doors that are by there?
No,
Why not?
because I was running and trying to get over the fence with my momentum as fast as I could.
So how did you get over the gate?
I climbed over it somehow. Like, I don't remember the exact specifics because I was just so,
And is part of the gate a wrought iron?
I think almost most of it is.
And as you're climbing this wrought iron gate, does anything happen to you?
Yeah, I get cut up and a few puncture wounds.
Where did you get cut up?
On my stomach, my hand, my arm, in my crotch area, on my legs.
He got
And why did
crotchlar
that happen?
wounds.
Getting over the spikes part of the wrought iron gate.
So did you go up that gate pretty quickly?
Yeah, yes, I did.
I have a 2-page document showing Mr. Michael Herman, Medici Mark Peoples, next in order, Peoples number
You're 20.
20,
Is that A
Oh, I
and
die.
something?
20A and B.
All right.
And here at
So-
20A.
Sir, you could have gotten, gone up and helped your friend and maybe got a beat
Is
gun,
that, are you wearing the clothing you're wearing?
or you went over a gate and got stab wounds to the nuts. So really, I mean, you were going to get something either way. I'd kind of go and save my friend. Just saying. On balance, seems like I'd rather go save someone than get puncture wounds to my testicles, but karma is a bitch.
Wearing at the time that you climbed over that gate?
I think running to
sorry,
save his
can you
own
repeat the
life,
question?
but
The clothing you're wearing on this photograph, is this the same clothing you were wearing?
oh
at
God,
the
now
time
I
you
really
climbed the
want.
gate?
Yes,
How do you know that?
because it's got holes in it.
Oh, those
That
are not
photograph,
even. I was thinking real puncture wounds. Please don't show his testicles. I don't need to see
You
those.
recognize what's shown there?
Yes,
What is that?
That's my stomach.
Well, I understand that, but it appears to depict some type of injury, correct?
Yes,
When did you sustain that injury?
when I was climbing over the gate.
Okay, can you describe that injury?
It was like the tip of the wrought iron gate
He says
Going-
just the tip.
going in my stomach and then like scraping around. As I climb over it, kind of made a hook.
Oh God, I am not mature enough for
Yeah.
this trial.
Now, as you're on the gate, are you able to hear anything coming from the home?
No,
You don't hear her screaming?
no.
And so after you climb over the gate, where do you go?
To the next door neighbor's house
Why?
because we had just met him and I was trying to get to a phone.
And I have a DVD with the name Michael Herman, has labeled 2 ring videos for 2080 Mound and 2 911 calls dated February 15, 2020. May this be marked people's next in order. Number 21. And I have a transcript for 1 ring video, which cannot be marked as 21A.
Yes.
And I have a transcript for a 911 call dated February 15, 2020, approximately 1:11 a.m. May that transcript be marked as 21B?
They're all on the same DVD?
Yes.
Okay.
And I have another transcript for a 911 call dated February 15, 2020, approximately 1:18 a.m.
Fry's
May
trying to
that be
decide if
marked
he's
as
going to go back to sleep
number
or
21C.
Yes.
Can I provide it?
yeah, I get this. And again, had he just couched it in more or less, yeah, I was running to save myself. But he used possibly the most dumbass excuse ever, while obviously jonesing for a fix of um, baking soda and or baking powder. This entire trial, as I've described it to Nicholas, has been a dumpster fire in the middle of Sharknado with lasers on it. It is say hi everyone. Here, we'll go big screen just for a little bit because it's not like we're going to mix everyone. Say hello everyone. He says I hate every. He's like I'm going to go play. I'm going to go play now. Yes, I will start making videos of Fry. We were supposed to go on a walk today and him hates it. Him hates it all the time. And unfortunately, I had as much as I hate, and this is of course tangent time. Where is Twisted Bunny when I have these tangent times, and pause the trial just for him? I will start doing that. I have a whole list of things that I'm going to start doing. I'm amazing at all the lists that I'm going to start doing. But yeah, I had a breakthrough when I realized that I'm possibly looking at the stroller more because sometimes it's easier for me to walk with like a cart or a stroller. And I'm okay with a cart or a stroller and not a walker just yet. So yeah, he should have said my bursitis. Yeah, I do. They said that they are Chad Kruger or whatever his name is from Nickelback, but as much as I make fun of Nickelback, they should have tried the guy from Counting Crows because I like Counting Crows. Really is interesting. He's got 7 followers, so I guess 7 people still like Nickelback. I have no idea. Do they still even play? His gout. He was $1 over.
Provide court and counsel copies of these transcripts. May I publish the transcript to the jury?
Yes.
About 10, 15 pounds. We're not quite sure. He was a surrender litter, so his parentage isn't quite sure. They're fairly sure he's a Pomsky, but he might have a little bit
Everyone should have 3 transcripts.
something else in him.
It's going to be a 1:11 a.m.
Are you talking about the 911 call?
Yeah,
Okay,
and
and 118.
1:18, and then there's going to be a ring surveillance transcript.
And good morning, making law simple.
So everyone should have 3
Well,
transcripts.
yes, I do, but
One transcript is
Fry
just
refuses
one
to
page
stay
with
in
has
those.
2 sides to
He
it.
keeps jumping out. You missed it, Twisted. I had a whole tangent that you would have been so mad about. I'll have to have more tangents while you're here. Good morning. I know. Let's try Bloody Mary next. I will not try Nancy Grace.
Throwing the last transcript, right?
I'm sorry, Your Honor?
Passing out the last transcript.
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, we haven't even seen if the good court, if the court, if the other court reporter is here and in a nude shirt again.
But it's making its way down there,
Yeah.
down here.
Just pass it back. Extras just get passed around.
Oh, so I guess they don't play them. They just
We should just pass all the extras
send
around.
them to the. That's interesting. I've never seen that actually in a trial.
We should just let the extras get passed around. Just pass them
I
around.
know the red microphone, the bronze eagles. It really is the most interesting setup I've ever seen. And I'm really waiting to see what this defense does to this poor withdrawing man. I wonder if he's going to ask for a break in between.
You wouldn't miss saying 111?
Yeah.
You all
Well,
have
see,
3 transcripts?
as you guys
Yes,
keep
okay.
saying that, I
Very
keep
good.
trying to make it
All right, Counsel.
Mr. Feeney, but
I'm going
the
to show the
more you
ring
say
camera
it, the
video at
more
this time, Your Honor.
it
And it's
becomes
1 page back and front?
Yes.
All right.
One of the
a failed
2080
painter.
videos has sound. The other one doesn't. That's why we only have passed for 1 ring video.
All right.
I like Tom Selleck.
Do you see the timestamp at the bottom right corner?
Yes.
That timestamp shows about 1:08 in the morning and some seconds. Does that appear to be around the time that you went there?
Yes.
And is that you on the video?
Yes.
Okay. And how are you feeling at that point when you're knocking on that door?
A little defeated and just really stressed out.
Why do you say I feel defeated?
Because first of all, I couldn't find my phone. and then
Where did you leave your phone?
in my room.
Did you
Under
take
the
any keys with
and
you out of your
socks.
room?
No,
And lotion.
So why didn't you
Don't
take your
ask
phone or your keys out of your room before leaving?
well, I couldn't find my phone. I wasn't thinking about keys by the time I was leaving.
And so you knock on this door, and does anybody respond?
No.
Let me play the second ring video clip. And this one will not have a transcript. On that ring video, it appears that you leave that area, that particular home, and where do you go?
Across the street to another neighbor's house
Why did you do that?
because I thought they might be home and I had met them.
And looking here at people's number one, does that show the area where that other home's located?
Yes.
If it does. Does it?
Yes.
Can you point with your finger where that would be?
This house here.
So it's the house right in front of 2078 Mountain Street.
Yes.
And so did you have to go through a gate, or how did you get to that other house?
I had to go through a gate.
Did you have to, was it locked? What did you have to do to get past the gate?
Just open the gate and
Yeah, that's what most self-defense people will
What
tell
did
you.
you do at
Start
that
yelling
point?
fire
I
or
rang the first doorbell, which I realized didn't make any sound, and then realized there was a second doorbell to the right and rung that and heard it make a sound.
And then what happened?
Nothing.
Did anyone respond?
It did not.
How did you feel at that point after you knocked on the second house and no one showed up?
Really worried
Why?
because I knew time was ticking. I was worried what was happening to Amy.
So what did you do next?
I actually was looking around potentially for a rock to throw through a window because I felt they were home and maybe just ignoring it because it was so late. And then I saw somebody walking up the street listening to headphones.
Can you describe this person?
Yeah, it was a black guy walking up the street, taller than me. Yeah,
And was this on Mound Street?
yes,
And did you approach this person?
yes.
And what did you do or say?
I asked him if he could call the police.
And what did he say?
He said yes, or yes.
Did he let you borrow his phone?
Yeah. I was going to say, really, I think I'd asked him if I could call the cops, or I can't remember if he could call the cops, but I remember I was scared at first because I one of the things I kept thinking was there could be more than one person, and maybe this is someone involved. So I was really like standoffish. I made him call the cops, and I realized like pretty quickly, okay, he's cool, and took the phone from him. I was scared to get too close to him at first.
And where were you when you borrowed the phone from this gentleman?
sir, were you high when this was happening? No. No, this man needs justice 100%. I don't know. I objecture. This man needs to be sentenced yesterday. Made us listen to his stupid closing statement and opening statement, wasted all our time, except for the fact that Court TV was dumb enough to not have an entire camera just on the prosecuting attorney's bald head as he was making all the faces.
Gentleman.
Right in front of the pretty much right, like catty corner, right in front of this house, but
But
towards
when
the
you say
side.
this house, these houses have numbers on them. Can you tell
Yeah.
us which one?
He can't
Well,
number
I was right in
houses.
front of was like right here, right in front of this house across the street.
Okay, so you're talking about the
Yeah,
house in
that
front
side.
of 2078, across the street from 2078.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And from that distance, at this point, when you're with this gentleman, are you able to hear any sounds from Amy's house?
No.
And how much time has passed? How much time could you estimate has passed from the time you left
I'm going to try
Amy
1.25.
at the
Let's see.
house to when you're now talking to this gentleman about borrowing his phone?
If you guys,
Approximately.
I would estimate.
okay,
maybe
no, he's
in between 5 and 10 minutes.
he's way too spazzy.
It's the best I can estimate.
Does he immediately let you borrow his
He's-
phone?
Yes.
And is 911 called?
Yes.
Going back to People's Exhibit number 21, I'm going to play the first 911 call, which is 1:11 a.m. As you were hearing the audio. And I'm going to give you a copy of the transcript and have you read along. I'm going to ask you the question, Mr. Henry.
I do like that they give the jury the transcripts too.
So this is back by roommate, we're at 28 Town Street. I don't know, I just haven't run out of the house, I couldn't find my phone, I couldn't find a weapon, I couldn't find anything. I don't know, I was downstairs, I was screaming, I was sleeping in a cop here.
Okay, now you ask me questions, okay, they're very important. What exactly happened? You did not know.
What? What?
Are you ready to answer my questions, sir?
Are you? Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Did you see anything?
No,
Okay, so
no,
what did you hear?
I heard her screaming and I heard her being,
All right, so I'm gonna send out if somebody's screaming, okay, since you didn't see anything. You don't know if she's being attacked, you're not sure.
yes, I know you seen her, I heard her got thrown to the ground.
Okay, all right, so 2086 Mount Street, is that a house
Yeah.
or an apartment, sir?
It's a house.
Okay. And this is, who's screaming inside?
Let me pause it at 1 minute and 5 seconds. Now here, you tell the 911 operator that on line 19, I heard her screaming and I heard her being, what were you going to say?
Objection calls for speculation.
What, do you know what you were gonna say, sir?
How can you speculate about what he was going to say?
Yeah, I was going to say choking.
What?
Where it says, I heard her screaming and I heard her, actually I was being attacked.
What?
I heard her being attacked. I don't know for sure, no, what I was going to say. I can't complete that thought. I mean, I know generally, but I don't know the exact word I was going to use.
Well, you don't have to tell us the exact words, but what was your thought at that point, if you remember?
Objection irrelevant.
Sustain, let's move on, Council.
Looking at line 23, where you say, I know she was being attacked. I heard her getting thrown to the ground. Is that what you remember happening that night?
Yes.
Can't even think right now. Amy Harlan,
I mean, who is she to you, sir?
she's my roommate.
Okay. And she's screaming for help?
Yes,
Okay. All right, and your name?
Michael Herman.
And what is your callback number, Michael?
I don't have my phone, this is somebody else's phone.
Okay, would it be okay to contact you back at this phone?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. All right. And so you're also hearing somebody hitting her, is that correct?
Yes, I heard something like that, yes.
Okay.
She wouldn't answer.
I'm going to pause it at 1 minute and 40 seconds. Right here on line 12, when the operator's asking you, and so you're also hearing somebody hitting her, is that correct? And you say, yes, I heard something like that. What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm thinking when she got choked and thrown to the ground.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was yelling up there.
Okay, so I'm just gonna send out as her screaming, okay, since we don't know what is going on?
Yes.
All right, and where are you gonna be, so you can direct me?
I'm right up front,
Are you black, white, Hispanic, or Asian, so they know who to look for?
What now?
Are you black, white, Hispanic, or Asian?
White.
Okay, and what color shirt will you have on?
White.
Okay, that way they can find you, okay?
Yes, yes.
Okay, Michael. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Looking back at page 2, where you said, line 13,
Oh,
you said,
yes.
my God, I'm going to hang up.
So here's my plan going forward is I'm going to try to do daily morning streams with like 4 or 5 kind of short, article-based kind of crime, funny news stories, that kind of thing, and then the court trial that we're doing. But yes, I will do a full petty dispatcher stupid thing. If you guys find them, send them to me because I'll be curating stories. So again, if you find dumb stories or irritating 911 things, send them to me. I will need help because I am trying to curate these things myself.
I hang up on this bitch. Why did you say that?
I felt really defeated and I just wanted somebody there quick. I knew something was really wrong.
Oh, for the love of Cheetos. Really?
Did you feel that the operator was believing what you were saying?
No, and it was again part of just feeling defeated. Like, here we go again, you know.
Who is that
We're gonna play the
comedian whose
second.
nose
Now,
basically
after you make that 911
imploded
call,
on
what
him?
happens?
I go to the house and I'm starting to yell up to the window.
Oh, you go up to which house?
Yell up
Amy's
to
house.
yell at throw a damn
And
rock into that window, distract someone, and then break into that damn door.
and
Also, just for anyone, because Mr. Mo taught me this and I've seen it on Facebook, if you move into a new place, ladies, gentlemen, Ms. Mars, make sure when you check your door, usually they only have screws about this. They have very short screws in the faceplate of the thingy that goes in the door. So take those out and put longer screws in, and then people can't kick your door in. It's a technically thing. Mr. Mo does it. I'll have him get on and explain the technically thing because he'll do it for my daughters if they ever move out and my sons. But or go on YouTube and they'll explain it much better than me. It's a thingamabob. It's easier to do. But yeah, you could have. They probably didn't do that on her door. He could have kicked it in with his sciatica. Um, Even with my gimpy leg, I could have probably broken through that door. Just saying.
so are you
Momentum
in
is
front
a
of your
thing,
house?
people.
Yes.
Okay, are you right outside the gated area?
Yes, I'm in the driveway.
This man is
right
making
up
me so
front.
irritated.
By the way, could you see if there are any lights on the third floor?
Yes.
Guess what?
Yes, there were lights on the third floor.
On which?
On the third floor into that media room area.
You could see
That's
that
what
the
I was-
light.
Yeah, I was trying to look in from the driveway. I was backing up and trying to like get an angle to look through to see if I could see her.
Could you see anything as the lights were on the third floor in that media room?
No,
Do you know if the lights appeared to be on in the mid-level, in like the living room area?
That was his name, Artie Lang.
honestly, I can't remember.
Okay. And so you said you were in front of the house, and what did you do?
I was yelling up to Amy.
Can you use the same language you used that night, if you remember, here in the courtroom? What were you yelling at this point to Amy?
I was just yelling her name, like trying to get her attention and see if she stood up and where I could see her.
Well, can you do it the way you did it that night? I know, try your best.
I was
Why?
just yelling like, Amy, Amy. Yeah.
Did you get any response?
No,
Did anyone respond from within that house?
no,
So then, could you hear her screaming or being choked, anything like that?
no.
And so about how long does that go on before something else happens?
I
I
guess
wanna
a
feel
few
bad
minutes.
for this
and
guy,
then
but I
think
also feel so
think I called
irritated about
911
him.
again after that.
Why did you do that?
Stop making this man yell.
It just,
He's a
to
terrible
me in that
actor.
moment, it felt like an eternity
And what was your intention in calling 911 again?
to hurry them up.
Have the second 911 call. This is it to read along. I want to see. I'm going to play that now.
Emergency operator to John.
Yeah, I'm wondering why it's taking the cops so long to get here.
You provide the address, I can look it
Yeah,
up.
2086 Mountain Street. It's absolutely incredible.
Has anything changed since you originally called?
Ooh.
What now? What?
Has anything changed since you originally called?
Yes, she's not answering, like I'm outside the fucking window yelling, and nobody's answering.
I'm yelling.
You just need to get a cop here quick.
Sir, the officers are on the way. I'm asking you if I can
Um,
update them.
Sir, I'm gonna need you to.
So there, in that 911 call, on line 9, you're saying that she's not answering
Yes,
and that you're yelling at the window.
yes,
And is that what you, when you're saying yelling at the window, is that what you described a few moments ago here in court?
yes.
And how soon after that 911 call ends do police officers arrive
I was
at
shouting
2086
loudly.
Mountain Street, approximately?
Well, Bunny, apparently the guy that strangulated a person had sort of a man card. He broke into somewhere. I don't know. Because apparently Eris, me, and Reindeer would have done, and Sal would have done, runned up in there. But in all truthfulness, Fry would have been he would have had our back way back. He'd have been in the backyard. Like, I'm not going in. No, 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 sir. My mom will go in though.
Maybe 5 minutes or less.
And what happens when the police arrive?
They get out of the car, and I'm explaining to them that we'll need to climb over the fence to get in the house.
And how's your state of mind at that point when you're talking to the police officers?
I'm thinking I really
Thought
could
I
use a
wasn't in
bump.
shock. I was
I mean,
talking to myself, but like it. And looking back at my videos, and I was really amped up, like just really amped up.
So have you been able to watch body worn video from the police officers
Yes,
showing you on the body worn video?
yes.
And so what do you tell the officers? Do you suggest to the officers to do anything?
To climb over
Yell
the fence.
loudlier.
You did not have keys to unlock that gate?
No,
And where were your keys to unlock that gate?
in my room.
And so do you have
Jesus.
to climb back over that gate?
Yes.
Was the Ark of the fucking Covenant in your room too? I mean, seriously to God, dude. Where the hell was
Do the police officers climb over that gate?
Yeah, they climbed over the fence area. More of the fence. I climbed over the gate for some reason.
And then what happens?
We walk around the house and go around back of the house. And
Let me ask you something before we get to that. When you left your room and then ran out to the front, was Amy Harwick anywhere on your patio at that point when you left?
no,
So now that you're coming back, do you make it back to the patio area with the police officers?
yes.
And what do you see when you turn the corner and see the patio?
At first, I wasn't sure what I was looking at, but it was Amy.
And how would you describe her condition?
Really bad.
What does that
Dude, you
mean?
suck so much. You really do. I'm
She
sorry.
was struggling to breathe. Her eyes were bulging.
Was she talking?
No,
Did you touch her at all?
I couldn't get too close to her. The officers were kind of directing me.
And how did you feel about it?
Well, since I'm not monetized, I really could give two poos. And I think it's only within the first 10 minutes. I don't know. Sticks curses all the time and he doesn't really care. So I don't care anymore either. I think it's within the first 10 minutes. I don't know. I have to read the whole daggone thing. But this man has done pissed me off. I mean, and you know what? If you see your friend, pro humanity tip, sir. If you see someone struggling and it looks like it's going to be the end of their life, you know what you do humanity wise, soul wise? If you're a person, you go hold their hand so they're not alone in their last minutes of their life. That's what you do. I don't care. You go, if you were a giant moralless human piece of trash that ran away and didn't save them, you go sit there and you at least sit there and you make sure that they don't feel alone in the last moments of their life. That's what you do. Ugh.
You feel at that moment?
Beyond defeated, just the work to me in my mind, like every decision I made, like the worst case scenario just unfolded. Like I can't describe how I felt. Like
I don't know. I mean, maybe not, but look, if I would have tried, I'd have tried at least. The cops might not have, but I said, I'm her friend. I'm going to at least sit there, try to go to the hospital with her, at least let her know that someone is there, that she's not alone. I mean, that's the thing. She, as much as we joke, as much as we make fun of, as much as we use dark humor thing, I mean, she died a horrific, terrifying death and alone, horribly, terrifyingly alone. And this man could have at least sat there and held her flippin' hand if the cops allowed him to. Jesus, take the wheel, because I'm about to say something mean to this little tiny fun-sized man with a coke addiction, allegedly.
aren't words.
At that time, did you try to provide officers as much information about what you heard that night prior to seeing Amy on the patio?
Yeah.
Is that too long of a question? Maybe.
Yeah, can you rephrase it?
Did the officers ask you about what happened?
Yeah, yes.
And did you try to tell them to the best of your ability what
Good
you
morning,
had
Carlene.
heard that night, that morning?
Sorry, you
Yes,
came in
to
on
my
a
best
on a
ability at
moment,
the
didn't
time.
you? Poor thing, Carlene. Sorry about that.
Did you tell them that Amy Harwick was afraid of an ex-boyfriend?
I did.
Did you see paramedics arrive at that location at the back patio?
Yes,
Did you see them attend to her?
yes,
Were you still there when her body was taken away to the
Yes.
hospital?
yes.
And how long did you remain at the house where you were living at before you were taken somewhere else?
I don't know exactly how many hours, but by the time I left, it was daylight.
Did you show some detectives what happened that night there?
I did. I did.
Did you tell them where you
Well, as
were?
long as it was
when you heard things
accidentally and
happen?
unintentional,
Yes.
atheist, that's all that we ask. Yes, we do. And I do feel bad for this man on a humanity level. He probably feels a poop
And
ton
did
of
you tell
guilt,
detectives to the best of
but
your ability
he
what
is
happened
also
that night? Yeah, that night and that morning.
could have
Yes.
done a hell of a lot more. And he had an opportunity to do a hell of a lot more.
And you previously testified at a preliminary hearing
Yes,
where you were asked questions by the prosecution and the defense.
yes,
And did you answer it to the best of your ability?
yes.
Now, as far as what you do for a living, what you were doing for a living at that time, you were selling products. Is that correct?
It's kind of selling some products in an intermediary for companies looking.
Oh
for
dear
products.
Lord,
What
he
kind
was
of products
selling
were you?
Sex
Lulabro.
toys.
And where
Oh,
were you
for
selling?
God's sakes.
Well, that's it. I would more work between
It
the
was
retailers
pure
and the
romance.
manufacturers.
And do you have a 1995 felony conviction for possession for sale of marijuana?
Yes,
How old were you back in 95?
20 or 21.
Had you ever met the defendant who's here in court, Gareth Pursehouse, before?
No,
No, he was selling adult toys.
After Amy was taken away by the paramedics that day, did you ever see her again?
no.
I have nothing further on.
Cross-examination.
Thank you.
Well, actually, I'm sorry. I do have a follow-up question.
Good.
Looking here at People's Exhibit number Next in order, people's number 22, photograph showing some French doors. Photograph A. You recognize what's shown there?
Yes,
Are those the French doors leading into the living room?
yes,
I'm gonna show you another photograph. B. Much more clear photograph. You see what's depicted there?
yes,
You see what appears to be some damage there?
yes.
Was that damage there before that morning?
No,
Looking at people's next in order, this would be a document with 4 photographs showing a statue. May this be my people's next in order, number 23?
I thought I was going to say order 66.
Looking at photograph 23A.
Yes, this is Lawn and Crime.
Yes.
What is that?
It's like this Hindu statue.
And is this next to the fence that divides the property, looking here at people's one, between 2086, where you live, and 2078?
Yes,
Is this towards the back of the patio
it is.
of where you live?
Yes,
Yes, and everyone buckle in. This is about to get terrible. I don't know if we're going to let.
23B. Is that a close-up of that statue?
yes.
Why are we focusing on this statue?
That photograph. Well, does this statue appear to have various arms?
Yes,
See that? Looking at photograph
And welcome,
23C.
Jungmin Shelley.
And is that the lower part of the statue?
it's an arm off the statue.
You see that there where there's a photo ID number 9.
Yes,
And looking at photograph D, which is a close-up of that, do you see that there?
yes,
And this is next to the fence, correct?
correct.
And so, had you seen that before, that arm had been broken from that statue before
No.
that night?
No,
I don't know. We might or we might get a bunch of random ridiculous questions. It really depends.
So you had lived with Amy starting in October of 2019. Is that about right?
roughly. I don't remember the exact month, but yeah, roughly.
I say give it 5 minutes and you'll
And
see if
You got to
Lady
meet
lawyer
Amy
is gonna be-
through, your friend Robert Koshland,
Yes,
and you previously lived with Robert Koshland before moving in with Amy.
I did.
And how long did you live with him?
Objection relevance?
He's gonna be a witness, is he?
Yes.
All right, hold on.
Little over a year.
So when you moved in October, you were traveling to China that month in October.
Yeah, I believe so.
So out of the 3.5 months that you lived there, you were traveling about 50% of the time.
Roughly, yeah.
Okay. And you lived on the bottom floor of this 3-story home, is that correct?
Correct.
So separating your floor, which was the bottom floor, and the area upstairs where Amy's bedroom and the media room were, there was a living area separating those 2 floors, is that
Yes.
correct? And on the living area, there was a living room, a dining area, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a desk area?
That's all on that second floor.
Yes. And the stairway that leads up from your level to the living room area, that kind of divides the house down the middle.
I guess roughly.
And so above your bedroom would be the kitchen, dining room area.
Yes.
And Amy's bedroom would be above the kitchen dining room area.
Yes, roughly.
Okay. Now, when you were talking yesterday and describing the floor plan of the house, there were a couple of rooms that you discussed. And just to be clear, the laundry room that is adjacent to your bedroom area and the bathroom that you have, is that accessible from inside the house?
It's not.
And the garage that's in the front of the house, two-car garage,
Yes.
is that accessible to the inside of the house?
No.
All right, so when you leave the garage, you have to go around the front of the house to get inside through that wrought iron gate. Is that correct?
Or you could go around to the backside to the left too, but yes.
And when you would come home, which way would you usually go back into the house?
Well, I didn't drive, so I just would walk through the front gate.
I used
So you
a
go
bus
through the
and a
front gate.
scooter.
And
ma'am.
what
It's
about
called a
Amy's
Vespa.
practice? Would she usually go in through the front gate too?
Usually.
And that front gate had to be locked with a
Such
key?
bitch. I am so sorry.
It didn't know. It didn't have to be. And it
I'm so
wasn't
mean
a
to
lot.
this man.
Well, okay, so if you wanted to lock it, you needed a key.
Yes.
Okay, but it wasn't locked a lot.
Right. I mean, yeah, I mean, if you wanted to lock it, you needed a key, but it had a latch. I mean, it was like a doorknob.
Okay, so it was not routinely locked.
It was at night. We had gotten in the habit of leaving it open during the day for Amazon packages. And then in the routine of the last person in would lock it.
And do you remember saying previously at any point that Amy used to sometimes forget to lock that gate?
Yes.
They guess the time.
What period are you talking about?
Do you recall saying that on February 15th, 2020?
I don't remember when I said it, but I vaguely remember saying it.
So it would be a true statement to say that Amy often or sometimes forgot.
Yes.
They guess the time period.
Well, he lived there for a 5-month period, so in the 5 months,
Yes, in the time you lived there.
yeah,
Sure.
a lot of it.
Thank you. All right, so when this incident happened and the first police officers arrived, you were very agitated, is that correct?
Well, I call them Amazon too. I mean,
Yeah, I guess it's real hard to describe how I was feeling.
yeah.
Was it a combination of a lot of feelings?
It was a lot of adrenaline. Yes.
Would you say you were fearful?
Yes.
Would you say you were frustrated?
Yes.
Was part of your frustration the feeling that no one was taking your explanation seriously?
That was a part of it.
And that included the 911 operator?
Yes.
And did you feel that same way when the first police officers arrived?
A little. Yeah, at first.
Did you feel that you needed to motivate them to take this seriously?
A little.
Did you feel like did you remember actually getting so frustrated with them that you cursed at them and walked away from them?
I don't remember that.
Sounds
All
like
right, let me ask you
move.
something. Before coming
Yeah.
to court yesterday to testify,
I feel
you
you.
said you got to look at some video.
Yes.
So let me just ask you what you did.
Yeah. If only she hadn't left her thing open for Amazon, she'd still be here. Can we sue Jeff Bezos? I mean, asking for a friend. Also, can he send me a pineapple bed for my dog for free? Also asking for a friend.
What you did to prepare for your testimony at this trial.
I'm gonna judge this argumentative.
Overruled, not a lot.
Did you talk to the prosecutors in preparation for your testimony today?
Yes.
And when did you do that?
I guess yesterday.
And did you speak with Mr. Avila?
Yes.
And did you also speak with his co-counsel?
No.
Did you speak with the detectives?
Yes.
Which detectives?
I'm sorry, I forget your name.
Detective Carranza?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you speak to any other detective?
No,
Did you read any transcripts?
I did.
Do you know how many transcripts you read?
All of them.
There's only a couple.
Or did you read your testimony from the preliminary hearing?
I believe I did.
And did you read transcripts of any of the body-worn video?
No.
Did you read transcripts of your interview with the detectives on February 15th, 2020?
I believe so. I don't, hold on. The interview was, yeah, I did.
And you watched body worn video?
Yes,
About-
not yesterday or this trip, the trip before
Okay, and when was that trip before?
when we had the other hearing.
Okay, so that was in 2021.
Yes,
So prior to the preliminary hearing, you had had an opportunity to look at body worn video,
yes,
and you got to observe what you said to police officers
yes.
throughout the evening of February 15th. Is that correct? Or the early morning hours of February 15th?
You know, I will say she's
Yes.
actually
Okay.
asking more
Do you
linear,
recall
coherent
testifying at the
questions.
preliminary
so
hearing
she's doing a much better job.
that
I don't like her hair at all.
you don't, this is at the preliminary hearing in 2021, that you said you don't remember now as well as I did then a lot of things. This has been a little traumatic.
Yes,
And were you saying when you testified to that under oath in 2021 that your memory at the preliminary hearing was not as good as on the date this
I'm going to
event
check
transpired?
vague as to what he was referring to in the page of the preliminary hearing
Well,
transcript.
just in general, his recollection, his memory during the preliminary hearing wasn't as good as the day of the incident. Is that your question?
Yes.
Would that be a true statement, sir? That your memory is better on the date of the incident versus the day of the preliminary hearing?
for the most part, but there were things I remembered after the incident.
But were there things you remembered after the preliminary hearing?
I've obsessed over this so much, it's hard to remember what I've remembered when I've spent so much time thinking about this. It's hard to remember when, as far as timeline goes.
Right. So you put a lot of thought into this, trying to put the pieces together and figure out what happened.
Objection argumentative.
Sustain his phrase.
Would you say that have a moment. Would you say that you could be over processing in your head, but you've been thinking about this obsessively?
Vague as to context.
Well, I don't know what you're referring to, counsel.
Well, do you recall having a phone conversation with detectives on February 20th, 2020?
I don't know the exact date it was. There was a couple conversations, throughout time. But
Okay, so around February 2020, do you remember talking to detectives and telling them that I could be over processing in my head, but I've been thinking about this for days, obviously?
yes, I remember something like that in the conversation.
And would you say that's been true in the intervening years since this incident has happened?
I'm
You've
going
been doing the
to
same thing?
object as overbroad, referring to February 2020. And then
Prosecution is on
other-
top of it.
The court will allow it.
I think he's
You
really
need me to react?
flustering. He's
You want me to react?
flustering lady lawyer.
No, because it's been a process. Like, it's really hard to explain. Like the
has
first
like
6 to
12
9
steps.
months were really difficult. But COVID had just happened. I was basically alone with my thoughts for a year and being in lockdown. That was pretty close to when we came here for that first hearing. I was in really bad shape.
And since the preliminary hearing, you said you have not remembered any new details?
Vague as to New details?
Just details in general about the incident?
Yes.
Okay.
I did remember a couple more details.
And you testified to them today?
No,
Hmm.
Let me ask you this. First officers who arrived at the scene, did you tell them that you heard muffled screams?
I assume so. I don't remember exactly word for word what I told the officers.
So it's your recollection that you did tell them you had heard muffled screams?
Objection, misstates the testimony.
Right, sustained, as phrased.
So you don't know whether or not you told them?
I don't remember how I told them.
Okay. Did you tell the first officers who responded that Amy was yelling the entire time? She was upstairs yelling when I ran out of the house.
Yeah, I don't remember that specifically.
He has his
Today
red
you
collar on.
testified that she was not screaming the entire time. Is that correct?
Yes,
The second responders that came, did you tell them that you heard muffled screams?
I don't
I'm
even.
going to object if he was asked these questions.
Well, the question isn't whether he was asked the question, but whether he told them. Whether it was because of a question that was posed or he told them on his own. The court will allow it.
There was a lot of questions from a lot of people. I can't remember specifically. I remember in general telling them what had happened several times to different people.
And you recall specifically telling them there were muffled screams?
No, I don't remember specifically telling them in those words. I just don't. I'm sorry.
Do you recall saying several times throughout your encounters with law enforcement on February 15th that Amy was
He
screaming
is-
the entire time and you heard her screams as you ran out of the house?
Compound as to various law enforcement officers.
Court will allow it.
It sounds like you're
This-
asking the same question over and over, but I don't remember telling them specifically
This
that I
man
heard her
is-
screaming the entire time. I just don't.
I know.
remember
I keep
saying
wanting
it.
them to say someone say
And your
Pacific.
recollection
Someone say
today is-
Pacific.
That she was not screaming
I
the
need
entire
this
time.
in my life
It's an argument
specifically. Damn it.
Overruled.
I'm a terrible
Is
person.
that your recollection today, sir?
Yeah, no, there was like a one period where it was like dead silent for a little bit. Like,
Phrasing, sir, dead silent is probably not the
and
phrasing
I'm
you
pretty
want
sure I
to
told the
use.
detectives that too.
Good papers in front of
If I asked you, did you tell the detectives that, what would your answer be?
My answer for you, I'm pretty
Vegas
sure.
had told them what?
Told him that she was screaming the entire time?
Yes,
Oh, you were going back to that.
yes.
I just told you. It's asked and answered that. I don't remember specifically telling them that, but
Okay.
I could have.
Okay. But if that's what you told them, your testimony today contradicts that, correct?
I'll give
Right,
it
that's been asked and answered. He stated, as he sits here today, she wasn't screaming the entire time. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, that's correct.
Doesn't walk it.
Thank you.
Is that all?
And with the muffled screams, you have no specific recollection of telling any officer or detective on February 15th that you heard muffled screams?
I can't recall like exactly how I described it to the officers at that time. I could have said muffled screams. I can't remember.
Why are we?
I'm sorry.
Did you tell any of the officers or detectives on February 15th that you heard the sound of a plate breaking?
And what date was that?
February 15th.
Okay, are you referring to the phone call I had with the
I'm talking
detectives?
about the date, the morning of February 15th, where you were woken by Amy
Okay,
screams.
okay, I'm just bad with the date, the timeline part. No, I didn't. I didn't remember that for a couple weeks.
And who was the first person you told about hearing something break when you remembered a couple of weeks later?
It was Robert Koshland.
And after you spoke to Robert Koshland, that's when you called the police?
Yeah, I didn't think it was that important. And Robert felt it
What
was.
in the actual?
He told me to call the detectives. And
I'm
tell them.
torn. I think his lawyers are going to
And isn't
strongly
it true
advise
that on
against it.
February 20th, the date that you called
And I'm
the
wondering if he
detectives,
thinks
that was the first time you ever told the detectives that you heard
he's
anything
going to be able to
like
talk his way out of
choking?
it.
I don't remember. I just don't remember.
But your testimony today is that you heard choking on February 15th.
Okay, you guys, if you were on the jury, I guess having seen the video, does this matter that much to you that this guy changed his story just a little bit? I know they're trying to impeach him. I know that, but if you're on the jury and this man's story changed, very little, are you super, super, super set? Or are you like, dude is on flipping camera, okay, and admitted to doing it basically? I don't really care if I'm on the
Yeah, and I
jury that
believe in
this
the
man
911 call,
who
they cut me
obviously
off as
has
I'm saying it.
I didn't
harvest
hear that.
nose
So,
clams.
Look at
Well,
the transcript.
So when the 911 operator asked you if an ambulance was needed, you said no,
I said I didn't know.
you didn't know. But if somebody were being choked, wouldn't you think they would need medical attention?
Okay, this woman bothers me more anyway.
The level of physicality you were describing, did it cause you to believe that Amy was being harmed?
Yeah, it did. It did.
And
And so you weren't convinced that she might need an ambulance?
honestly, Eris, I think it pisses me off more coming from a woman that, she's trying to say, well, the gate was unlocked for Amazon packages. So, she maybe invited people to sneak into her house, or why didn't you call for an Amazon or for ambulance if you knew someone was going to be choking? Shouldn't you have called for an ambulance? Uh, Somehow her being somewhat victim blamey of both him, I mean, I don't know why her tone is pissing me off more than Doogie Howser's usually does.
An ambulance?
I was just
I know he's a nose
Flipped
clam
out.
harvester. It's not like
wanting them to get the cops there. I don't know what to tell you. I was
it's not
just
like I expect perfection from him.
could have been thinking better. Sure.
This woman has me all the I
You
know.
were in a
That's
state of
our
panic, is
job,
that
damn
true?
it.
And shock. Yeah.
And
I have the
panic?
cleavage,
Yes.
I have the red hair. I am here all for that.
Let's talk a little bit about. This won't fall. You told several officers on February 15th that you were in a panic, is that correct?
I don't specifically remember that. I could have.
Oh, Bunny, I'm going to irritate the crap out of you. But it's a Friday, and honestly, I don't care. I mean, this is all on replay anyway. I mean, this is in the past. The odd thing is that, and I don't know how I'll square this in my mind, but somehow I have much more grace for the roommate in Ohio than I have for this man because she's a young teenage. Look, she's a kidult. She's what, 19? I don't know. I haven't really followed the Idaho case. So she was 19, a kidult. I mean, and she was probably terrified. This is a grown ass man, okay? I have much more grace for a kidult than I have young girl who saw a masked man with a bloody knife than I do a grown ass man. So and she may have been a little bit devil's lettucey, I'm not gonna lie. So I I don't know why I have a hard time, having I have much more grace for her than I have for this person, this man right here. Even though if I were face to face with him, I'm sure I wouldn't be making all these jokes, but I would get him to rehab or a sinus medication or a Kleenex. Hello, Jamie. Let me work on this because, of course, I need to redo it again. Do-do. No, I don't want you. Would you
So far,
just
we've seen a 3D
stop
recreation
being dumb?
of
I
Amy
don't.
Rock's home.
Why are you dumb? Oh, there we go.
Other than the scale, does the 3D rendition of 2086 Mound fail to include outside foliage and furniture and everything else inside the house,
You mean outside the house?
outside and inside?
Oh, I didn't get a good look inside, but yeah, there's missing foliage on the
So,
fence on the outside.
yeah, the lady
And the
lawyer
trees near
on
the
the defense
balcony,
is not,
are those also missing?
to me, any better than the dude lawyer.
I can't remember.
Really?
They're both pissing me off. Well, so it's been like, oh, did they leave the garage or the gate open for Amazon packages? Did you guys sometimes forget to lock the gate? And, uh, you know, did you forget to ask for an ambulance when you called 911? But did you forget to tell the police exactly what happened when you were calling? I mean, dude's obviously like got some kind of issues,
This is the roommate.
roommate.
Got out.
Yeah. So, I mean, the amount of times he has touched his nose and so just kind of victim Amy blaming and taking our job from him. Making fun of this man is our job, not her job. A, and B, like if they hadn't left the gate open for the Amazon packages, Gareth wouldn't have gotten in.
Right.
And Jamie, I mean, here, if you and I are on the jury, are we really going to care that dude who's obviously got a cocaine issue kind of changed his story? Or we see Gareth on the fucking Ring doorbell.
So nothing.
I mean, which one makes
else
more sense to you?
matters. Yeah.
That's where I'm like, why are we spending time on this? Can we fast forward to the Ring doorbell so I can see that again and play it over and over again with Benny Hill music in the
I
background?
mean, are you supposed to really think like, oh, they left the gate open? Oh, you asked for it. No. He was gonna
Not
figure out
guilty.
to get in anyway.
Not guilty. Get them shackles out.
Yeah, I know.
Get him to a gym.
Oh dang, the gate's closed. I don't know. I guess I'll just go home. Okay.
These are all the not guilties.
Sure.
What is wrong with these people?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, the only thing this defense has done right is they figured out that this judge has a hate eggplant the size of Mars for the male lawyer, so they put the female lawyer up, but she's taken me off.
I believe there's been another copy of this, and I'm gonna mark this as defense name.
Oh yeah, and apparently
Good
Gareth's
deed.
dad also stalked his ex-fiancée.
Oh,
So there was an overlapping time where they both had protective orders against each other or against them. So, I mean, Daddy son
Yes.
bonding time?
They were twinsies? Aw.
And it shows the staircase that goes up to the living room area.
Yes.
Just
Did they talk about it over dinner? Isn't that cute?
I don't know. The whole thing is
In order, Your Honor.
Beth?
yes, obviously leaving the gate open means stalkers welcome.
And is
Yeah.
this
Like
showing that
it's
same
like the Motel
staircase
8. We'll
from
leave the light
landing
on
into
for
the
you.
living room area?
Yeah, we'll leave the gate open.
Yes.
And you can see it has a low ceiling as you descend the staircase.
Actually, what you're capturing is just where the low ceiling starts, about halfway or a little more down. It's actually pretty high, right after where you can see. I don't know if you want me to point at it, but that lip at the top.
Yes.
You have a
After
pointer
that.
there, sir?
Yes. After that, it's pretty high.
So that the stairway has a low ceiling.
No, about the last third to half of the stairway has a low ceiling.
And when you ascend the stairs, is this the landing area?
Is that G?
Defense G. Thank you.
As you ascend, yes,
And what is this at the top of the stairs?
it's a statue.
It's a statue? And was that statue present on the evening of February 14th and the morning of February 15th?
It was.
Was this jacket also hanging there?
Yeah, I assume it was. I didn't notice it until like the next day or two.
Well, he did pass away, so that maybe stopped him.
HS.
I'm showing you a screenshot from some body worn video.
Hello, Mimsy.
As you can you see the date there? 3/5/2020.
Yes,
Is that the date that you did a walkthrough with detectives? of
Oh, poor guy. They got his
2869?
bald spot from the back.
What
Oh,
the actions were from the date of February 15th?
I can just assume so based on the date on the photo.
And does it appear to you that in this frozen frame of the body worn video that you're recreating screaming up the staircase?
Yes,
He said he
So
yelled.
this
Don't
is
say
a depiction
screaming.
Of you screaming up the staircase, Amy.
Oh, if you have
I
him
can't
scream
remember if
one
that
more.
was Hey Motherfucker or Amy.
Okay, so you basically were in the same position for each of the screams.
I don't remember.
I mean, like, I really don't understand why he didn't just go up there and like help out, but whatever. I know that's everybody will have a different opinion about that, but I'm like, go bust
Yeah.
the room and like be like, what the F
Yeah,
are you doing?
that's what I said, because you know that you've always seen those YouTube videos or those things that'll pop up that most commercial housing or most housings you only have those short little screws and doors, and like all Scott put longer screws and or Mr. Mo put longer.
Oh my God, I've been exposed to the internet.
Well, I already doxed you anyways. But you can, I mean, with momentum, you can open a door. Like, yeah, I'm sorry. This dude had a whole thing and then blamed sciatica. He's like, well, I have sciatica. Me, Eris, like
What?
everyone in every other female in chat and Sal. Okay, Fry would be way back. Fry is like, nope, ain't going in.
Well, I mean, at least scare the dude if you couldn't get the door open or
Scare the-
something. Like bang
Like
on
yell
it,
outside
yell and
the
you
door.
know,
I called the cops. They're coming in. You know,
yeah. He literally just ran away like a little baby.
yeah, or just say, hey, you know, don't say I was afraid. I didn't know, you know, if he had a, you know, weapon. I was afraid.
I know, man. Here I am. Well, David's trial is so interesting too, and I got caught up in because I was like, "Oh, I'll go on his for a little
Oh,
bit."
I know. I wanted to go on that last night, and I don't know if it's
Yeah, he
trying to
didn't. He
get.
ended up not being able to get on last night, so he started this morning at 9. So I was like, "Well, I'll
Oh,
do him at 9, and then come to you a little bit after." But
oh,
then the
okay.
testimony that was so interesting, and I couldn't help myself, and I'm like, "I gotta go."
This trial is. I tried to explain it to Nicholas because he's also doing his thing for Verdict Watch. I was like, this trial is a dumpster fire in the middle of a Sharknado.
I
It's
know.
we had, a guy and possibly a girl, it was just, we don't even know.
I know it's all so interesting. There's so much going on right now. I'm like, oh,
And I found a pineapple dog bed.
I
that-
saw you post that. Did you get it?
Not yet. Again, Mr. Mo and I are having that need versus want talk.
Tell him it is a absolute need, and I'll say it too.
Well, I have to put up a poll because I've got two different. I have the funds for two different cat beds, so I need. Mr. Mo and I are arguing over which are the cat towers.
Your living area.
He likes one and I like the other, so
Staircase
I need to.
leads up to Amy's living area.
Oh, that's a lot of. I don't like that.
Crosses.
I don't like it at all.
Yeah, I'm not a fan.
Cat on there?
And here is another
Aw.
photograph showing the same staircase.
Is that Jake?
Yes, thank you.
What's
This
the
shows the same staircase leading up
wildebeest?
to Amy's living area from another angle.
Yes.
What in the hell is going on here?
I do not like that decor, but that's just me.
Yeah, what is going on? Why?
So it's
Where?
like a nest or nest farm.
Yeah, with like
And here
the
for the
animal
record.
heads. Come on.
I'm pointing to, there's like a.
Yeah, I don't understand the animal heads.
Head, and if you.
I know,
go down
guys.
Go with
a
it.
little bit, there's a
The
dark
animal heads.
object that looks
Gothic
like
church.
maybe an H-shape.
Sort of the corner of the roof, the ceiling.
Yes,
Mr.
Well,
Mo
why-
generally goes along with everything I say, so
and when police officers arrived and as they talked to you that evening.
he
were
just
you
doesn't
making aware
understand the
that there
thought
was
process
net
at all
video
and or
to
why.
help them in their investigation of this case?
I can't remember exactly when it came up, but I do remember by the morning with the detectives talking about it, making sure that they knew when we're working on that.
I'm sorry, what?
That they knew when we're working on that.
That's true.
I make fun of her house, but I am currently looking for Victorian lamps
Yes,
that could
I just
feature
remember-
in like the best little whorehouse in Texas. I really want one for my.
There were cameras at that time, whether they're
So-
operable or not.
My decor
Yeah.
makes
So,
no
I'll
sense
stand
either. So
expecting
it's
that.
like-
I can't say anything.
Tricky.
Mr. Mo is like, what is actually wrong with you?
yeah.
Not at that moment, no.
Like beaded and bedazzled
They've
to
been
within the
operational
inch of
since
its
I've lived
life.
there.
Just
Mhm.
So you have no, Amy never told you anything about them not functioning properly?
Objection calling for hearsay or negative hearsay.
So sustained negative.
Well,
Yeah, but the sustained on here, so I don't know about negative, but it's here sustained.
So do you have any reason to?
God
believe
love
that
you.
the next cameras
closed
were not
captioning.
objection found guilty.
Sustained.
operating? So as far as you know, the entire time you lived there, they were operating?
I actually think they were out a couple times. But they did operate. She had sent me video.
She had
Of
sent you
them.
video in the past?
Yeah.
And was it within like a week of this incident?
I can't remember.
All right, let's take a morning break, if you will, for about 15 minutes, ladies and gentlemen.
Now we need to see if he comes back more focused and not sniffy, if you will.
Doubt it.
If you will,
Well-
for about 15.
There's always no. He still looks as depressed.
Voicemail message.
Well, you should be,
Leave a voicemail
because you're a
message.
baby.
I did.
And do you remember what you said in that voicemail message 5 days after their first interview?
Like, how
Um,
big was he? When is he tall or anything? I mean, come on,
I
guy.
think you're
He's a smallish guy. I think he's like 5'4" or something. And he's not very big. I mean,
House.
but the thing is, I mean, you could have caused a distraction. You could have banged on the door. You could have said, you know, I have called the cops, MFer, leave her alone.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing.
I just won't
Have a good day, greedy bloke, and a
Agreed.
good weekend if I don't see you later.
I think that's the one where I remembered that when she was screaming, she wasn't moving or being jarred or jostled, or it could have been the one where I remembered the plate falling, or what I thought was a plate falling.
We're looking at a transcript of that voicemail message. Would that help you remember what you said during the voicemail message?
It would help me remember which call it was.
May I put you on?
Yes.
And this is a.
Hello, MNHS06. Good morning. Well, happy Friday. We've made it through another week.
Let me know if that helps you remember.
Ugh. Finally.
Possibly. Maybe. And we get a long weekend.
Oh yeah, I have Monday and Tuesday off this week.
Woohoo! Yay!
No,
Except that we won't have court on Monday.
No.
Sad face.
it's dumb.
I
Well-
know. We should force them to work, not us. Well, I mean,
Yes.
us
Does that
will.
help you remember what?
No,
what
it's
you left on the
essential.
voicemail to the detectives?
I know.
And what did
We're
you say at that
essential workers, damn it.
That was after that. I remembered the sound waking me up.
Sir,
when I
you're
thought it was
supposed
a
to
plate
be
falling
refreshed.
on the floor.
Oh, I'm
Did
sorry.
you say, I don't think it's going to be any new information or anything to help, but after seeing the door and stuff, and just yesterday, it occurred to me that I remember while I was being woken up by what sounded like a plate dropping, and then somebody walking around upstairs. Is that what you told him?
Yes.
So you didn't know if that was helpful or not, but you thought you'd leave that for the detectives.
Yeah, Robert. I wasn't even going
One
to tell
bless
them.
Nana,
Robert was the one that told me I should.
I completely understand.
Then
Mini
did the detectives call you
vacations.
back?
Yes.
And did they interview that day, 5 days after the murder?
Yes.
And
I do know that Baker's having a
during that
stream in the
interview,
afternoon. I don't know if
counsel's
we're
been
going to
asking you,
have
when did you
Stab
say
Your
anything
Day
about choking?
like usual.
During that interview at the very beginning.
Yeah, 'cause I think
don't
he
you
gets
tell the
back
detectives-
from his flight like until a little late, like early, so then he's gonna do it later.
What I can do is well, no, I'll be cross country. So I don't know. You know what I can do? I do have like 5 articles and stuff. I can record tonight and then have set to go tomorrow at 9-ish, unless Sal wants to do something tomorrow. So it'll be about an hour-long video. I don't know.
You know.
It'll depend.
So you're not
'Cause
gonna
I've got
gonna be busy on Saturday?
Well, I have a cross-country thing. I have to face Columbus tomorrow.
Oh,
No, thank you.
yeah,
Sober too, 'cause
Oh.
it's, cross country.
yeah.
Fun stuff. Okay, well, Sal's got you covered. So there you go. And I might still do that hour-long video to do a trial of kind of seeing how I might do a daily kind of hour-long just morning live stream of different short article stuff, kind of like what Styx does, but court stuff and crime kind of related things, shenanigans.
5 days after the murder that she was being choked.
Objection to the term murder, Your Honor, that's a question for the jury.
Sustained. That's
Killed
right.
after her death.
Her death.
After
Yes.
her death, 5 days after her death, did you tell the detectives that she was being choked?
Yes.
Did you say specifically, I think because when I yelled up her name, I think you put her to the ground as quickly as he could and started choking her.
This, Your Honor, this does not.
All right, he stated that he stated that he did, counsel.
Counsel asked, making it seem that this is the first time he's talking about the choking, so I'm trying to rehabilitate.
Does that include the choking?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So
This was,
Wait a minute. go back and let's do this again. Closed captions.
Choking, so how to rehabilitate them.
Does that include
Talking
the
about the
choking?
chubby.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Closed caption.
This was on February 5th.
Yes, he did. So Mimsy, he heard her being attacked and choked. He could not find his phone or his keys or anything. He kind of did a yell up the stairwell because he was on the bottom floor. But really, he didn't do much, and that's why we kind of don't really like him.
I'll say it. He's a big
He's a freaking wimp.
baby.
Driver, if you keep messing with the cats, you're gonna get bopped again. You're trying to put some bass in that bark, but
Go ahead.
you're gonna get
did you state the following?
and I'm gonna laugh instead of help
I
you.
think he
Which is
put her
mean
to
of
the
me,
ground.
but-
This is improper. You should be asking the witness what he told them, not reading
Yeah,
from.
I
it.
think
that
he
the dog?
did. Let's get
Yes,
to the choking part.
that's
of it.
Fry.
It's in
God.
the pinpoint, if you would.
This is on page 2
Yeah,
of the February 20th.
he
2020.
desperately wants the cats to play with him, but the cats don't really
Like
think
him.
barking at them is appropriate.
I think he put her to the ground
They're
as
like,
quickly as he could
no,
and started choking
you
her.
thing
Okay?
I
I
don't
could
like.
hear her choking. But, Detective, but you say, does that make sense? Detective, wait a minute. You heard her choking? Answer, yes, I heard her choking. So did you say that on February 20th, 2020 to the detective?
Yes.
At the preliminary hearing, on September 20th, 2021, when you were examined by both the prosecution and the defense, did you state, when asked by the prosecution, can you describe the sounds you heard after you called out to her? Did you answer? This is, I'm sorry, at page 64 of the preliminary hearing transcript, volume 2, September 20th, 2021, line 17, at page 64.
64 of volume 2.
Yes. September 20, 2021, page 64, line 16 to 22. Ready?
Yes, what was the question?
Is this your statement about what you heard at that time of the preliminary hearing? Question by the prosecution. Can you describe the sounds you heard after you called her out? Your answer sounded like two bodies hitting the floor. Question, why would you say that? Answer, because it was two thuds, one after another, one right after the other.
Junior, this is improper.
Definitely.
Redirect, because this is not something.
Yeah, I
All
mean,
right, so sustain. All right.
Okay.
Go ahead, Councilman.
Look at the following
yeah,
page, page
it's very
65.
possible he might have heard these
Line
sounds before,
16.
but
Take a look at him, Council.
16.
yeah, we all may
Question by
need
the
to go to
prosecution. Can you
confession
describe
after
the
this
sounds that you heard?
this
Answer, sounded like
trial.
a female choking. Question, why would you describe it like that? Answer, because it just sounded like a female choking. It sounded like Amy choking. Was that your answer about what you heard?
Your Honor, part of that answer was stricken by the court at the preliminary hearing, and the council just read it in the record.
Well, if that's the case, I don't know. I don't have that in front of me.
That is the case.
All right.
May we approach?
The judge is like, damn it. I don't even want to be a judge anymore. Why are you guys making me judge right now?
Well, clearly he didn't think it was a fun choking,
Did you have
If
any
you-
blood
oh,
on your shirt?
getting
I
scared.
believe I did.
Because it sounded like a female choking.
Yes.
And now, when the police officers first saw you that night, did you have any blood on your shirt?
I believe I did.
So if you have blood on your shirt, you're telling them someone just attacked your roommate. Is that
Yes,
correct?
yes.
Have these officers ever met you before?
No.
and you have blood on your shirt.
Correct.
And do they bring that up, that you have blood on your shirt and you're saying something happened to your roommate?
Yes.
Now, you said Amy was trying to reinforce the actual French doors that were later broken?
Y'all, I tell every single one of my kids, I'm like, become a plumber, become a welder, do not go to college. I am all for learning a skill. Do not go to college, do not go into debt.
You
Because
can you can just go to like a trade school. That's what my dad and my brother did, and they make a good living. They do like HVAC stuff.
Frybert, you are going to get your little nose bopped, and I'm going to laugh my boobs off, sir. But you go ahead and try it. You've still got your little berries for a while.
Objection, this states the testimony.
I don't know. Is that correct, sir?
I said that I overheard her asking the handyman to reinforce the French doors,
All right.
Which French doors?
the front ones that were damaged.
And the body worn video, have you been able to see the body worn video when police officers first arrive and have contact with you?
Yes.
And does that body worn video show the TV, the condition of your TV?
Yes.
Big gets to time, Your Honor.
Yeah, why don't you clear that up?
Actually,
Well,
it's
at the
Loki.
time
Let me see
that
if I
the
can
officers
get
come
Loki.
into the property and go with you into your room, are you able to see the TV, how loud it is and so forth?
It wasn't making any noise, but I saw it was on.
This is Loki. This is the one that wants to adopt. He would adopt.
Did
We're not
Amy
learning
ever tell you
too much
how
from him.
physically large was her ex-boyfriend that she was
So
afraid of?
this one would adopt
What did she say in that regard as far as?
Objection,
or
Your Honor.
or
Beyond the-
cry, but
It's just,
he's like, I hate you right now. Let me go before I bite you. Okay, sorry.
When
And
detectives
you're
are-
400
when
pounds
officers arrive at the
anyway.
scene and they're first interviewing you,
Love
are you
is
the one directing the interview or are they asking
Yeah.
specific questions?
That's why I have to get
They're
an
asking specific
extra
questions.
heavy duty cat tree. That's why they
Or did they
he
tell you,
didn't.
tell us everything you know right now?
Objection, asked and answered.
all right. He said that they were directing, were they directing by questions they were asking, sir?
Yes.
Okay.
I have nothing further.
Recross?
Just briefly, Your
All right.
Honor. Mr. Herman, is it your recollection that the TV was muted at the time that you heard the screams?
No, just that when I watched it on the body cam video, I guess, I didn't hear it on, and it looked kind of like a screensaver.
Okay, so you're not aware of whether or not the audio was on at the time this incident
No.
occurred and you heard screams?
No.
Thank you. Nothing.
I would
Any,
ask-
based on that question?
Not based on that, but I would ask to briefly reopen on a question that was asked that I did not go into.
You mean, I was asked on cross,
Yes.
the initial cross?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Counsel asked you whether you met with the prosecutors recently and whether you reviewed video recordings, is that correct?
Correct.
Were you told what was the purpose of you having to review recordings back from 2020?
Just to help refresh my memory.
Has anyone, myself, the detectives, ever told you this is what we need you to testify to?
Absolutely not.
And your interviews with the detectives, back on February 15, 2020, they were recorded.
The initial interview, yes.
So when they first met you, they recorded that interview
Yes.
and they recorded some subsequent interviews.
Yes.
Thank you. I have nothing further.
All right, so you may step down.
Let's do can we approach you?
You want to start 1:30 with this, or is it something you
We
can,
can start at 1:30 with the reading of.
is that, you have readers, right?
Yes. Actually, we may do it right now.
That's fine. All right. You have a copy? Is this the witness who was supposed to testify tomorrow?
Yes, Your Honor.
As I advised you, ladies and gentlemen, what's going to happen now is kind of a recreation. This is a testimony that occurred by a representative of the FBI And so someone's going to assume the role of that person, how they testified at the preliminary hearing, rather than that person being
Ooh.
here tomorrow. That's the one I explained.
Dramatic
All right?
reenactment.
So you're assuming the role of the agent?
I am. Your Honor.
Okay. Make,
Your Honor, the agreement is that the testimony that we're about to present for Dr. Maureen Bradley would be as if she were here testifying to the same.
Oh,
right. That's the stipulation yesterday?
Yes.
Sir,
Okay.
Is that stipulated?
Yes, that's on the record. yes.
your barking moves you backwards. And I
Just
did
go
order a
and,
tripod to put
read
the
part
movable camera
of the
around, so
clerk and
that will
court.
work
I'll
better.
read those parts
So
too then.
by next
Yeah, as
week,
long as you use different
Doggo
voices.
Cam should be
No,
up
go
to.
ahead. That's all.
Stop. You.
oh my God, he's so
Sir,
cute.
The clerk called as a witness by the
put you in
people,
your
having been first duly sworn, was examined and testified as follows.
Loki is going to
The
not
clerk,
adopt you
can
into
please state and spell your first and last name for the
get your
record.
Lambert. Come on.
My name is Maureen, Maureen Bradley, Bradley.
The court,
Hello.
Dr. Bradley, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
The court, let me
Sir,
provide you
you
with some
have about
introductory
5 seconds, and
instructions,
then you're going to
which I
go to
hope
the
will be of
outside room
assistance to you.
with Mr. Mo.
Please try to make yourself as comfortable as you can.
Loki's
Because
like,
it is
I'm
so
moving out the
difficult for
way.
us to hear
I'm
and
about done
understand
with
each
his
other
ass.
because of these masks. Please try to speak as loudly as you can in the direction of the microphone.
Okay.
The court. And while you're speaking, please speak slowly. Should you be asked a question that calls for a yes or no answer, please use those words rather than slang or shaking your head.
Why do we have to?
Please
go-
wait for a full question to be asked of you before you even start to answer it.
This
Please
is
ensure that your mask always covers your nasal and mouth areas.
Oh
Like
my
all of us,
really.
you probably experience the mask slipping when we talk. And lastly, if at any point in time you want to use any disinfectant materials in the area around yourself, they are located to your left behind you. Don't hesitate.
Thank you, Your Honor.
The court, is all that okay?
Yes.
The court, Mr. Avila? Mr. Avila, thank you. The court, you're welcome.
Really.
Direct examination by
Tell me
Mr.
now
Avila.
with
Question. Dr. Bradley, what is it that you do for a living?
I'm a forensic examiner chemist at the FBI laboratory.
Oh, fucking Christ.
And can you briefly describe what is a forensic examiner with the FBI?
I analyze items of evidence that is submitted to the chemistry unit of the FBI laboratory by law enforcement agencies, whether it be the FBI field offices or state and local police departments. And in
They're trying to kill
analyzing
me in a
items of
Friday with my
evidence,
ADHD.
specifically in the last 7 or so years, I analyze drugs, pharmaceuticals, bank dye
Oh, for
chemicals,
the
general
nicotine.
unknowns, and pepper spray.
Because
Again,
no,
I analyze those items of evidence, write a report of my findings, and then testify as necessary.
But it's terrible
Thank
that she's got to
How
like.
long have you been working as a forensic
found-
examiner with the FBI? Approximately.
Approximately 22 years.
Now, can you briefly describe your education, your training, and your experience in chemical analysis?
I received a bachelor's degree from the College of St. Rose in Albany, New York. I received a master's and a PhD in analytical chemistry
I
from
know.
Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute in Troy, New York. For a period of time of about 5 years, I worked in an independent testing laboratory that was a material testing laboratory in Schenectady, New York. And then I began my tenure at the FBI laboratory in
I would tap on her.
1998.
She can say and
When I started my career at the
Schenectady,
FBI
right?
laboratory,
And read it.
I was a forensic examiner in training.
That was
I
a
was
trick.
trained to analyze items of evidence, specifically to document my analysis that I could be admissible in court. And I received specialized training in the types of materials that I analyzed, as well as specific instrumentation that I would use to analyze those materials. In my training, I took a number of oral examinations to demonstrate my knowledge. I took a number of competency tests, which were mock, mock
Not on
cases
this,
to
not in
demonstrate
this
my
trial should
ability
you
to
say oral
analyze these
tests.
items and come to the correct conclusion. And I took a number of moot court exercises to demonstrate my ability to testify and explain my results in mock court settings.
Thank you. And now you mentioned that you would receive substances from other law enforcement agencies, which you would then analyze. Is that correct?
That's correct. We do not analyze items from the FBI field offices. We also accept items of evidence from state and local agencies.
Now, drawing you to the date of July 14th, 2020, on that day, did you receive a package that was sealed with a label of 21520 Harwick 3220933?
I did. I received that package, as you described it, through the normal course of business at the FBI laboratory. That is, as one of the examiner's chemists, case working unit personnel, we don't actually physically receive evidence through the mail. We receive it through our evidence management unit. So I received that package through the evidence management unit.
And was that package a syringe holder labeled in part DR number 2006-06220?
Yes, it was.
And with a PID number 18 and a number 21?
Yes, it was.
Oh.
And how would you describe, well, did you make a description of the
Fucking
item
bad.
as a syringe with a cap
Beef.
needle containing amber to orange liquid?
I did.
Oh my gosh.
And did you take a picture of that syringe with that liquid?
I did.
No way.
Your Honor, I have an exhibit that was at the preliminary hearing marked as People's Exhibit 16. May this now be marked as People's 24?
Yes, and with that, we're going to go ahead and break, ladies and gentlemen. Let's have a good lunch. We'll see you back at 1:30, if you will. And for the record, the reader, what is your name, please?
Negin, Negin. Last name Mostadim, Mostadim.
Thank you very much.
Let's see if,
Your excuse, ladies and gentlemen. What was that exhibit? Is that a photo of something?
oh, good Lord.
I
This
know.
is going to be horrible.
That covers the needle. Syringe
I wish they
notes
would-
containing photograph 1 is 0
wish they would do better.
00954.
I know.
Number 1
but
is
they
the
have-
laboratory number.
Court TV, Law and Crime, judges everywhere. I am willing to go. Send me a ticket anywhere. Like, y'all, just to have my own hotel room in the quiet. I mean, I will not work for free. I will still have to have like expert pay. But I'm just saying, make your court day better. Hire me.
Number assigned at the FBI laboratory. So the photograph from the top is the syringe, item 1, described in my check-in notes containing this amber to orange liquid. The needle of the syringe is capped, meaning that it has a plastic clear cap that covers the needle. The bottom photograph is a close-up of the liquid in the
Okay, we're gonna
barrel
see if
of
we
the
can do
syringe.
1.25
So if you
with
look
this
to the
chick.
right-hand side, there's a rubber,
Tell me
black
if
rubber
this
plunger.
is too
That's the end of
fast
the
for you
plunger of the
guys.
syringe. The middle is the orange to amber liquid, and then on the left-hand side is where the needle holder screws into the barrel of the syringe.
And would you describe this as a 3mm syringe?
Yes, it is a 3mm syringe.
And about how much liquid is in that syringe at the time you took these photographs, approximately?
There's approximately 1/2 a milliliter in the syringe of liquid.
Now, aside from receiving this syringe, did you receive some information from the law enforcement agency as far as the conditions in which this syringe was found?
I did. For each submission that comes into the FBI laboratory, there is a written request that comes in with the evidence that accompanies the evidence. So in that incoming communication, which was actually through the FBI field office in Los Angeles, there was a brief description of the crime as well as where the syringe was taken from.
On August 25th, 2020, did you analyze that liquid in that syringe, which was now FBI item number 1 under the FBI number 2020-00954?
I did.
And can you describe to us how you analyzed the liquid?
I removed the liquid from the syringe and put the liquid into a test tube. I then characterized the liquid in my notes. And if you could follow, I'd like to take my notes out.
The court, if that will assist you,
Yes,
the court, you may reference them. Do counsel have a copy of the notes? Ms. Bernstein?
Yes.
Ms. Bernstein, yeah. Mr. Avila, yes.
It
The
is-
court, okay.
Sounds so
Thank you.
stupid.
This is so dumb.
Ms. Bernstein, we need you to read that part.
Sal, I'm saving you
54,
right
54,
now.
line 17.
I believe so, if it's a two-page handwritten document.
The court, is that what it is, Dr. Bradley?
There is also an analytical data that you should have 2 pages of handwritten notes, photographs, evidence of analytical data.
Yes, thank you.
The court, people, yes? Mr. Avila, yes. The court, thank you. Look at the materials, Dr. Bradley, see if anything refreshes your memory. Then you can turn it upside down and then testify if you're able to from memory.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
As I stated, I removed the liquid and then placed that liquid into a clean test tube. I then, as I said, described the liquid in my notes as somewhat oily, viscosity like water, amber to orange in color. And then I proceeded on to analyze the liquid. The first instrumentation that I used was a Fourier transform infrared spectroscopy, abbreviated FTIR. I placed a drop of the item 1 liquid onto the ATR accessory of the FTIR and obtained an infrared spectrum of the liquid.
The court, excuse me. Ms. Jones, are you okay with these terms? The reporter, I'm fine, Your Honor. The court, thank you. Please. Mr.
Oh my
Avila,
God.
can you explain the
Take one.
FTIR method of
Horrible
analyzing substances?
Yes, I can. Each
You're a
chemical
little-
is created based
you're
on different
wrapping
atoms
up
that have
just a little
bonds to
bit,
one
Jamie.
another.
Yeah.
Some chemicals have a signature FTIR spectrum. Other chemicals do not have a signature spectrum because they are similar in structure to one another. So we can either look at a spectrum and get an idea of the identity of a compound
David, did they get
if
to
it
the
has a
part where
unique
they
FTIR spectrum,
they
or we can
got,
classify it into a
um,
class of compounds.
Gretchen
So something
and
such as
they poured
cocaine or
water on her and
methamphetamine,
she
they
melted,
have
or
characteristic FTIR spectra that are unique to those
Or
chemicals.
where they
Something
threatened
such
our
as oil,
democracy?
like say
Because I'm
vegetable
confused
oil
because
or
we're in
mineral
a
oil, they would have very similar
representative
spectra.
republic,
So we
but
could
I
use
didn't
the
know.
compounds
Proved
in the same
anything.
class of the
Ah.
materials of oils, but we couldn't differentiate one oil from another based
Meal.
on the FTIR spectrum. So I obtained the spectrum of the item 1 liquid, and I used a library search with thousands of spectra. And the most similar spectrum that was obtained in the library search was nicotine. Then I obtained a nicotine standard from our reference collection, and I analyzed that nicotine standard also by FTIR.
Let me stop you there. Is the FTIR method generally accepted method of analyzing chemicals in the scientific community?
Yes, it is.
And how long has it been used by the FBI to analyze chemicals, approximately?
I can't answer that question because I don't know how long, but I would estimate that the FBI has been using not necessarily FTIR because that's a newer technique, but infrared spectroscopy for a period of at least 40 or 50 years.
You discussed that you also submitted a standard. Looking here at page C, of this exhibit, people's number 16, but in court it's people's number 24. Can you tell us what is shown here?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll
This is the
probably finish up
nicotine
here
standard obtained from our
at
reference
the-
collection.
in about 15 minutes.
And what is the purity of this standard
so
as it's labeled?
that
As labeled, the purity is 99%.
What does that mean?
That 99% of that compound
Sal
or that
and
liquid is
cited
nicotine.
utterance
The
can
other 1%, I
do their
can't
thing
attest
this
to.
afternoon.
And how would you describe nicotine as a
Because I
chemical?
have
What would you say
date
about
night with
nicotine?
Mr. Mo tonight.
Nicotine is a drug. It
Woo.
is a liquid, and obviously it's a chemical.
We're going to
It is
Trinity
not a drug that is controlled. That is a controlled substance by the
with
Where?
another
Controlled
couple.
Act, as is heroin or cocaine.
Where?
But it is a drug, and it is a toxin or a poison.
Why would you say it could be a toxin or a poison?
It is a toxin or a poison because at high concentrations, it is toxic. It can be lethal.
And please complete your explanation how you analyzed the sample from the syringe and the 99% pure standard.
So I obtained the FTIR spectrum of the item 1 liquid. Library searches indicate that it's nicotine. I get the nicotine standard. I run that the same way I have run item 1 liquid by placing a drop of an ATR crystal and obtaining the spectrum. And then using the software with the instrument, I'm able to compare the two different spectra to one another by using an overlay of the two spectra. So they do overlay well with one another. There are some indications in the item 1 sample that there are some light differences from the nicotine standard. So I proceed on to another.
Sorry to interrupt. The slightest differences, given your experience, do you know what they may relate to?
I do not. I did not. It wasn't evident to me what those slight differences were in the spectra, and I did not necessarily pursue that.
if you could continue with your analysis under the FTIR method.
So when talking about the comparisons, and there's some slight differences, I did not pursue that. So I can't speak to what those differences are.
Why are you dragging me into
So
something?
ultimately, what was the result of the FTIR method for you?
So the item 1 contained nicotine. I proceeded on to a second instrumental technique to pursue the identification of nicotine.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
Sure.
How many more methods are you going to use to determine whether the item from the syringe is nicotine?
In this scenario, I
All
used
of
2
them?
additional methods.
And were these 2 additional methods to confirm that the item from the syringe was nicotine?
These 2 additional instrumental techniques were used to identify nicotine in the item 1 liquid.
Can you explain the second method that you used?
The second method that I used is DART mass spectrometry. The DART standards for direct analysis in real time, and I used both item 1 liquid and the standard, the nicotine standard, and I introduced the liquid using a capillary tube into the instrument. This instrument provides accurate mass of compounds that are present in the sample, whether it's a solid or a liquid. I then introduce the standard to the instrument, and I use the instrument software to analyze the data and to obtain the accurate mass of the item 1, the compound in the item 1 liquid, and the accurate mass in the nicotine standard.
Is the DART method of analyzing and identifying chemicals, is that generally accepted method in the scientific community?
Yes, it is.
So if you could, continue as to what you did with the DART method.
So as I said, I analyzed both the item 1 liquid and the nicotine standard, obtaining the accurate mass for the compound in both samples, and they were comparable to one another, meaning that the instrument produced the same result.
What does that mean, the same result?
Again, I'd have to look at my notes to get.
With the court's permission, the court, you may, please.
So as I said, the instrument will determine the accurate mass of the compound or compounds in the sample. So the item 1 liquid rendered a result of 163.123. And the nicotine standard rendered a result of 160.
Isn't there like some super secret book of like expert readers? I'm just saying. I need to get on this book.
Well, the fact that he's like reading in like all the stupid little stuff is driving me crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I know they have to do this, but again, we have the man on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Can we skip to the camera part? Can we say, sir, is this you?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Were you in our house? Yes. But I was sad. Okay. Oh, I don't care. And
yeah, and
basically,
I mean, that's it. Case closed.
163.123.
How is that significant?
So the accurate mass of the compound present in item 1 is the same as the accurate mass of the nicotine standard. There's also a theoretical mass of nicotine that is calculated, and that value is 163.123.
And what else did you do to analyze the liquid from the syringe?
So the last instrumental technique I used was the gas chromatography mass spectrometry. I dilated the item 1 liquid 1 to 100 in methanol, and then I diluted the 1 to 100 dilution again 1 to 100. And
let me stop you there. Are you now mixing methanol into the liquid, the sample from the syringe, and also on the 99% pure standard?
Yes, I'm using a methanol to dilute the sample. So to dilute, it's just what it sounds like. I'm taking 1 part item 1 and adding 99 parts methanol to it. So I'm diluting it down 1 to 100. And then I'm diluting that 1 to 100 solution, another 1 to 100 fold to ultimately be 1 to 100, 1 to 10,000 dilution.
Why are you doing that?
The reason I'm doing that is I don't want to overwhelm my mass spectrometer with too much sample. And I don't want to have the concentration of the solution be approximately 100 parts per million. So I dilute my sample 1 to 10,000, and I also dilute my standard 1 to 10,000 using that same serial dilution, 1 to 100, taking that, dilating that 1 to 100, the final being 1 to 10,000 dilution.
Okay, and how does that assist you in analyzing what is the identification of the liquid from the syringe? How does that process assist you?
I'm not sure I understand your question.
Oh my God.
We're talking about the GCMS standard, right?
Yes.
And so maybe I interrupted you. After diluting the 2 samples, what happens after that?
So I take that dilution, I put it into my instrument, and the gas chromatography portion of the instrument will separate any components that are present in that liquid. So if I had a mixture of materials, I could separate out the different components in that mixture using the gas chromatography. That will pass the detector, meaning the components will pass the detector at certain times, and then they will be analyzed by the mass spectrometer. So again, gas chromatography will allow for separation, and then the mass spectrometer will I think obtain a spectrum and look at that spectrum and identify what particular component is. So in this run where I analyzed item 1 and the nicotine standard, I only obtained one peak for item 1 that was diluted 1 to 10,000 in methanol, and one peak for my nicotine standard that was diluted 1 to 10,000 in methanol. Both the item 1 and the nicotine standard had a retention time that was the same. And that retention time was 5.79 for item 1 and 5.79 for the nicotine standard. And that peak, or that
Yeah,
component
that sounds
at
like I understand
5.79
what
in
that
item 1
means.
was identified as nicotine, and that peak at 5.79 in the nicotine standard was identified as nicotine.
And this also, the GCMS method, is a generally accepted method to analyze chemicals in the scientific community.
Yes, it is.
And did you do
Right.
anything else under this
And
method?
in unrelated, super tangent news, for all those who donated through Cash App, I have put up options, and those who didn't and just want to vote, and everyone, on my community page, I have put up the options that we have narrowed it down to cat trees that will support our rather large cats. So I have narrowed it down to 3 since Mr. Moe and I can't decide and or agree that I am always right. So we've picked several. I've gone with wood just because the carpet seems to always just collect cat hair all the time. And these are supposed to be sturdier and deal with cats that maybe like to eat a little bit too much. Like they're little hobbits. They like first, second, and third breakfasts. So if you feel the desire, you can go over to the community part of my page and vote.
This method.
Not by GCMS, no.
Did you do any further dilution or testing?
No, I did not. I did take a photograph of the nicotine standard, eloquent of the nicotine standard.
I'm sorry, the court reporter, I'm sorry.
Eloquent, ALIQUOT. I feel like I'm in a spelling bee.
The reporter, thank you.
That's not what I heard.
Looking here at People 6-3 photograph B, can you tell us what
Thank
is
you
shown
for listening in the
here?
background and letting
As
me
I
be
said,
part of your
I
day.
took this
Us to be
eloquent of
part
the
of your day.
nicotine
Right.
standard, put it in
No,
a test
Jamie's
tube,
here.
and that is the test tube on the right-hand side. And the item 1 liquid is on the left-hand side. And that, again, going back to the beginning of my testimony, is the item 1 liquid that was removed from the syringe and placed into a clean test tube.
Is there any reason, given your experience, for the different coloration of both samples?
There can be a number of possibilities as to why there is a difference in the colors of those two
I know what my
specimens.
Halloween
The
costume
one
is
on the
going to be.
left is a larger volume of liquid, which can make something appear darker if there's more
Gonna get
volume.
the most Are
you frozen? Uh-oh. Or is it me? Okay. Come back, Mo. I know. This is a tragedy. Uh-oh. Thanks. I did it myself.
okay.
Said,
An actual
provided that
shell.
99% nicotine and pure, the inference can be made that because the dilution of 1 to
Am I
10,000
back
We're
yet?
on a
for
list
the same
too
sample
because of David.
and 1 to
We're on a
10,000
list.
for the nicotine standard that was analyzed contemporaneously with the same
Well, I
sample
think I'm going to
provided comparable
actually,
results.
I think our internet, some moron probably was digging in their yard again. I swear that has happened like 3 times in our neighborhood. Some moron is digging up something to put in a deck or some swear to God. I live with very smart people.
Right.
But let me see. That is give this to Sal so I can you are at 5403. Sal, you're gonna be right back in listening to Robot Land, so
Mm-hmm.
I only saved you for a little bit. But guys, don't forget to go over to Dolly Talk and you will be there with Excited Utterance. So I just came back to say goodbye. But also, well, also Fry needs to walk. Well, okay, he needs to he has a problem. He needs to learn to walk on the leash. He's like, no. So I just feel like I'm dragging him behind me and I need to sign him up for puppy class. And I feel bad because I know they're going to make him have to mind. And I already feel bad because I'm like, he's
Be
going to have
like,
to,
it's okay. It's okay.
you know.
Dogs like structure, so
Yeah, I know, but I'm like, hates it. He starts
I know.
crying. I'm such a
Exactly. You feel bad. I know, I get it because I'm like,
I'm
no.
like, but he's crying. You don't and he has the eyes, which
Yep.
is so funny because Griffin will try the same thing. I'm like, stop. He has worn out his sad eyes. Fry will get to the point where he's like worn out his sad eyes, and I'm like, stop.
Mhm.
I will see you guys later. I will be back on Saturday, probably in the afternoon. I am going to woman up and put my big girl underpants on and go to Columbus with my daughter and go to her cross country meet, even though it's not going to be the funnest place for me to go.
Yeah.
So that's where I will be tomorrow. So then I will be on Baker's Stream and probably having an adult beverage. Not
I
gonna lie.
have to go
Or
get some
8.
too. We might all have to.
So, just a fair warning, I may be mowed to 11 tomorrow.
I love
But
Mode 11.
but thank you guys so much, and we will see you a little bit later. Have a great rest of your Friday. Bye, guys.
Okay.